Hello, good afternoon. So today we've got Amit here, who's got 30 plus years experience, and he's in the midst of a few career choices. And today's discussion is about figuring out which career choice is or which job role responsibility is a good fit for him, considering his vast experience. Yes, Amit. So please go ahead and say, what you've been doing all this while. What's your experience been? How many companies have you worked in? And so on.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you, Kiran, for this organizing this session. Yeah. So about my experience, I have around 15 years experience, and I have worked on the product side as well as with the service-based organization. So initially, I started my career as a software engineer, then moved on as senior software engineer, technical lead, then technical architect, and now solution architect. So I would split, let's say, 10 years, like 10 years in the IT side, development side, working on entire applications as a backend developer, mostly technologies like backend technology like C++, Python, .NET. And thereafter, let's say 2016 onward, for 3 4 years I was technical architect, and now close to 2 to 3 year I am solution architect. So I have done TOGAF and Azure certifications. So right now I have few opportunities, but I wanted because currently at my level for solution architect, if you ask me frankly, like how many years have you spent designing number of solutions? So that experience is close to 2 2.5 year, like close to 2 year. But I see there is a still lot more ground to cover or to come as a senior seasoned solution architect working on different requirements. So that's where I see a gap. And in my uh, I started when 2022 in oil and gas background. So that's where I started as a solution architect for 1 year, 1.5 year. And now in the current company, which is service based company, it is close to 1 year as a solution architect. But that much exposure I have not received. They are primarily into RFPs, working on new RFP, understand the requirement, give a high level design, that much. So that's where I see there is a gap. Like my self assessment is like there is a gap. Let's say what is the industry trend or the expectation from solution architect either on the cloud side or in the let's say current trend is cloud, right? So I see there is a gap. So that's where I want to see that if I have to move on as a senior solution architect or a lead solution architect, like few years down the line, then which career choice can be more helpful? Looking at that, I have a strong software engineering background, like hands-on experience of 8 to 9 years on software engineering side, and recent 3 to 4 year experience in Azure cloud solutioning experience. That is like that is mixed. Like it is not in the development only; it is data analytics, setting up data platform on Azure using these technologies like Data Factory, Databricks. That is one part of the solution that mostly I have worked on data side in Azure, plus some integration using Service Bus, Event Hub. So that is like data analytics, integration, and some bit of development, like developing some web application, mostly on the designing a web application. So that is a mixed experience of 3 to 4 years. But I see that uh, still I find myself that the this array of skills required for solution architect, definitely I see that there is certain areas I have to fill those gaps. So that's where I wanted to see that, looking at my past experience and the career aspiration, what type of opportunity can be more suitable. Yeah. And your questions, please.
Yeah, I think so. You are, deciding between should I take a solution architect's job and what is the other option that you said, which is the other one?
So the one opportunity is in the solution architecture space, which is the cloud, primarily AWS cloud, working as a solution architect. So my responsibility is to design a solution on AWS, taking care of security, scalability, and all those parameters in the pharma domain. So that is the opportunity one, which is a pharma top 10 company having a GCC in Bangalore, and they are like 7 8 years in Bangalore. The second opportunity is a banking sector, which is a UK UK bank, and they have like a small setup. Small is around 1,000 people, but it's compared to, let's say, the pharma opportunity, the company size is less, and they are giving a typical solution architect role, which is not focused only on cloud, but is, yes, they have mentioned it's Azure cloud plus data related projects are there, and some Azure microservices type of projects. That's the second one. Third one I was mentioning is about the cloud migration, like on premise to cloud, helping in that journey in terms of technical architecture and helping the development team, which is more of a support kind of role, like as an architect to help the migration, or not a hands-on development work in that third opportunity for uh, consulting, where it's a cloud to like on-prem to cloud migration. So that opportunity, I would say, it's not really matching my expectation, but the first two ones are most likely. That's where I need to make a choice, and I'm looking for some hands-on experience as well. So both the opportunity have that available. So yeah.
Okay, okay. So yeah, I think I have scrubbed your three options, and let me put that to you so that we can discuss that straight away. So that the company names are not visible here. So typically, so you able to see my screen?
Yes, yes, I can see. Yeah,
Okay.
correct.
So this is the first option. Company is a technical advisor. So this is not a hands-on role, more of a support role, which you said you are less inclined on, right? So this is one of the options. So it looks
Correct.
like mostly an infra kind of a consultant,
Yeah.
software infra, and it requires cloud-based architectures, then microservices, distributed computing knowledge, some log analyzing using Grafana, Splunk, ELK, App Dynamics, monitoring. You need to know. Yeah, so this is like a basic support kind of a role. So not that very, given your profile and given the amount of experience that you've got. So this will be like trying to not a really good fit, I would say, compared to the amount of experience that you've got. Unless, of course, these guys are, you know, giving you great perks and allowing you a lot of freedom or some big package or something like that. But other the skill wise, this is not very, I would say, for given your experience. Of course, somebody would definitely be a good fit here. But since you have a lot of other experience in solution architecture, here your skills are not really being put to use, especially in this job. So I would say this we can straight away overlook. So the only skills that you would typically get to know is flair for articulation, communication, multiple customers. That is something that will be taught on the course on how to do that effectively. Then liaising with business and the technology teams. Yes, this is something that you will come to know. Then stakeholder management discussions. Yeah, so I think this is just about that. So it's not very promising. But they have got some technology requirements, and apart from that, it is not that way a good thing. But the next one is the solution architect profile. So here also you have you can be a group head of architecture and lead solution architect. So this is like a very promising role, which will push you into vital key leadership position.
Yes. Yeah. So
So
here my reporting will be to the lead solution architect and the group head architect. Yeah. So I interacted with them. Yeah.
okay, okay. So but your job is solution architect, but you'll be reporting to these two guys.
Correct. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Then solution architect goes be accountable to design overall technical vision, business problem, bridge between business and technology, make solution work. Okay, this is all going to be covered. Typically, how to do that. Testing of integration programs, software to address all business. So why is it saying that this guy is a testing role or something? The role is to include testing and integrating program software systems. So is it a test solution architect, or testing is just one of the things in this portfolio?
Yeah. So when I asked the question, they said currently this company, they are doing some digital transformation, like their 3 year program or 5 year something, That's where testing is one aspect, but I see they have a lot, like it's overall solution architecture type of role they were talking about, let's say designing, and then some bit of hands-on also. So testing is just one part of it. Yes, but it's like some kind of digital transformation work they are doing, plus some internal work, which is like a in-house IT setup. It is more of.
Okay, okay. Then to leverage and use technology to enable the organization's future state business capability, drive targeted outcomes. Yeah. So you'll be taught about what is business outcomes, what it is, capability management, and so this is you will be taught these things on how to do these from a leadership perspective. Typically, as a part of, because the more maturity you show in handling these two things will reveal the amount of experience that you come up as, so that they can be pushing you into a leadership position safely. So these two things we cover. They're responsible for accelerating projects while ensuring logical physical architecture aligns delivery of design, reference architectures, implementation experience, business. So I think you already have quite a good amount of experience doing these things. But the logical physical part, you have to be good at. You should be able to create some standards and reference architectures, which will push you into a more mature kind of perspective that people start respecting you for your experience, that you have. So you can either look at internal reference architectures or industry reference architectures, and then try to create something and institutionalize that knowledge within the company, so that you are, coming with that maturity that is required for the role. So this also you'll be, taught how to do this in the course. Then understand business drivers and business capability, and understand corresponding systems and change requirements to drive the organization started. So this is typically requirements gathering and business drivers and stuff like that. So then lead implementation solutions across a group of specific applications on specific strategy capabilities. And so, yeah, this is also is being covered. Manage and develop architecture, close the application agreement. Okay, this, since your development experience is quite vast, you should be able to pull this through quite well. Although you said it's only 2.5 years since you actually have been doing those kind of solution design and architecture related roles. Providing consulting solution within line to overall infrastructure. Okay, that should be fine. Monitor current state portfolio to identify deficiencies to aging of the tech. Yeah, how do you do application portfolio management? How do you say that this application needs to be retired, this needs to be refactored, this has to be migrated, this has to be remodeled and rewritten, or whatever it is. You have to cut down the technical debt on this. All of that activity will be done here. Understand technology trends and this thing. So how do you keep yourself updated with latest technologies? So which is your, so you work mostly on Azure stack, like development has been mostly Microsoft, or is it Java?
It is mostly in the Windows or .NET, and I think more closely is native like C++, VC++ based applications, plus bit of .NET and Python.
Okay.
So Java is no experience with
Okay,
Java.
okay. So it's mostly on native and C, C++, and Microsoft, a bit of Microsoft.
Yes, yes, and Python a little bit, yeah.
Okay. So this should be fine that way. Understand, advocate, augment the principles of technology strategies. Yeah. So this is like, how do you use the practical side of TOGAF to get this thing? Like, how do you use principles to, chalk out your architecture that we'll be seeing? Analyze business IT requirements, run, grow, transform to critical deficiencies, recommend solutions for implement systems, record differentiation, innovation. Yeah. So this is like the Gartner's model. They call it a twin model. That is the, how do you change the business and run the business so that your current breadwinning applications are not suffering. So what is the kind of mental map that you have so that your systems of record and systems of differentiation are not impacted? So that is the twin model of Gartner. What they call is a two-speed IT or multi-speed IT model, which is like, how do you innovate while you are still getting some money from the breadwinning applications? So that is about this part. So this you will get to know as the part of the mentoring coaching. And analyze the industry competitors, market trends, determine their potential impact on the enterprise. Analyze technology. Okay, so this is competitive analysis and all that you need to know. Okay, that should be fine. Then principles, guidelines, standards to ensure. So this is, yeah, you need to follow the principles that you will come to know. Design, direct governance activities. Yes, this also is covered. Roadmap, how do you create a roadmap is covered. How do you evaluate services? This is covered. Consult with application infrastructure provider to fit solutions or if it's necessary to modify the accommodated solution. So this is all part of normal stuff. Identify organizational impact, skills, culture, financial impact. Okay, this is will be covered. Document all solution architecture work and design. Okay, that should be fine. Closely work with PMO office. I think this everybody was. As nominated risk champion alongside the risk function, developing risk management, acting both necessary levels of transparency, potential risk, yeah, and cultural awareness. So basically, how do you do a good job of risk register management? All of that sort of stuff. You need to have as a part of your skills. Maintain the company's compliance standards. Okay, this should be fine. Then experience requirements is architecture roadmap standards, patterns, business problems, scope, functional, non-functional. Architecture governance forum. So what do you think is actually contributing to architecture governance forum? What do you think you should be doing here?
Okay, I understand that it's like setting up, let's say, the review process, like architecture review board. How what are the checklist one should follow before coming to the architecture review board, and what are the prerequisites? Is it meeting the criteria, and then putting the governance around it, like what is the standard review process, and then in terms of the solution architecture documentation, what are the deliverables, like let's say what is the standard tooling and the approach in order to, let's say, fill certain content, how, so that kind of control, I think, is a governance which will standardize the architecture work across the group, so that it's more reusable, and it's something more standardized according to the enterprise expectation, like, or otherwise the teams will end up doing some point solutions which is specific to a scenario, and then again reinventing the wheel number of times. So that's where the governance will help us streamline the things or standardize, and it's more reusable, or yeah. So that's my understanding on the.
Yeah. So it's like almost correct. So basically, somebody needs to oversee all the moving parts, the loose parts in the architecture, and when they fit together, the interoperability scenarios, the interface scenarios. So somebody needs to say these are the standards to be done, these are the compliance requirements to be done, and you need to publish interactively to the architecture governance forum that these are the kind of checklists that you need to do if you're developing a cloud application. These are the kind of things to be monitored. These are the kind of coding guidelines, these are the kind of design guidelines, these are the kind of integration guidelines, and all of that. So basically, if you're able to and you'll be part of the design reviews, architecture reviews, integration reviews, and then you need to give your comment on what is working, what is not working, and why do you think this is the rational to be chosen out of 2 or 3 options given, which is the best fit architecture for a given scenario. So those kind of things you should be able to contribute. Basically, it's all about the governance activities and architecture evaluation. So this is actually being covered as a part of one of the modules called evaluating architectures. So you can actually do that part there. Then leadership, project management, relationship management. Yes, this is quite important to maintain relationship with your customers, management, business guys, and all that. So that is there. Leadership is, of course, being covered. Excellent business technical problem solving skills. Yes, this is very much required. Then implementation experience is essential. So do you actually have technology implementation experience, although you are having good hands-on experience on the development side of things, on the application development side? So do you actually have technology implementation experience?
See it. I do not understand the meaning of this statement. Like technology implementation means like going on some kind of a cloud roadmap or something, or is it moving? Let's say upgrading the technical landscape of the company. Let's say some middleware technology. We are moving platform A to B, or is it some cloud journey or some mobile related solutions we need to take up? So I do not understand completely the technology implementation is like some component A to B, or it's like introducing a new solution, like developing in-house or something, buy versus build or something. So if you can help me understand a little bit, that will help.
Yeah, so basically your technology implement, I'm not sure if you've heard about professional services in your company. So in the companies that you work, have you heard that there's a professional services team? Yes.
That like some kind of a shared services, like some professional services means. Is it consulting or something,
No, no,
or is it?
I'll tell you. So the reason it is, have you actually visited to client locations? Have you visited client locations?
Yes, yes, I have visited a few of the client locations. Yes, one of them is a UK based client where I went for the visit, and then one was within India, a domestic client visit. Yeah.
Okay, so typically what happens on site at those locations by your development, by your implementation teams. So developing software is one side of the story. And as soon as you ship your software, what have the action, kind of action that happens on the client location? So that is called as implementation location. For instance, if we are a software company, we're shipping software to ICICI, and we're shifting the core banking solution to ICICI. Core banking is only 60% of the entire requirements of the ICICI bank. So they have monitoring solutions, they have security solutions, they have hardware solutions, virtualization, a whole lot of other 40% of the other software comes from IBM, HP, Oracle, and Red Hat, and so many other guys. So in an implementation context, whatever that you have developed, how does that piece of software go and sit in the target landscape of a customer? So that is what is your implementation experience. So let us say you have written .assembly or a .exe file. So that gets shipped on what target machine? Is it an x86 machine? Is it an IBM mainframe machine? Is it a Unix box? Or it is a high-end server box that is being done? And what are the kind of kernel parameters that will be required for it to run well? What are the different types of surrounding software that is required to monitor the uptime, downtime of it? How do you ensure that it runs well in the target landscape of the customer? So developers keep saying, okay, I've written zero bugs on my thing. I run a unit test. My JUnit is working. My test sites are working. And it's perfect. And they throw the code away. But there, the actual, they say, story abhi abhi shuru hua hai, no? That sort of stuff. So basically, that's where the action really happens. So when you take that piece of code and then deploy it in the target landscape of a customer, he will face n number of challenges like, oh, you guys have made the implementation installation so horrible. You have to enter so many different parameters. You've not put environment variables. You've not put it in flat files. You've not done this. You've not done that. All of that is your implementation experience. And then when it's running on a standalone machine, maybe it might consume less of RAM and less of CPU. But it is when it's working on a high-end server with a lot of other software, what is the kind of performance that it gives? All of that is typically your implementation experience. So how does it sit in the target landscape of your potential customers environment? So as you keep on talking to customers, they'll keep telling you a lot of examples or case scenarios from their work life, saying, hey, this worked, this did not work, this is how it is working. Your interest calculation module is very slow. Your CRM is okay, and your account calculation is somewhat in between. That kind of stuff. So those all kind of experience that you get from the real world is basically your technology implementation experience. Because you may have 10 different customers and the same software, that let us say you are a accounting software provider and you're providing accounting software to 10 different clients. Some of them want it on Unix, some of them want it on Windows, some of them want it on Sun Solaris, some guys want it on mainframe. So the implementation exercise is different for all of these guys. Though your piece of work that you've done is same, but you need to port it to so that it suits various challenges and implementation styles. So that is your technology implementation experience.
Okay, so I understand that it is more of not just about that module or the code that we are releasing, but it's about the entire ecosystem. Let's say how that solution is now integrating with the other solution, and what are the inbound interface or outbound, and setting up with the other, let's say, monitoring solution and everything in place. So that that overall package is now termed as the technology implementation, which is like the overall. Looking at, let's say, the not the let's say, if I look technically, let's say OS layer, then the software level, then the networking around it, and the security monitoring, everything. Understood? Yeah, yeah, this is clear. On a high level, I see, yeah, this is something, when I looked at it is aligned with my expectation. at the same time, I was not able to get like how much of a it will give me opportunity to do some hands-on also, like
Yeah,
because
that
when we are
the
in the
technology
current.
implementation part, there'll be very little of hands-on, but it'll be mostly like a liaising, business liaison kind of a job. So you'll have to get the requirements and translate it into the language in which the development folks or the application folks understand it. But you'll be a key player and say, okay, this will work, this will not work. So you'll be able to call the shots in terms of the solution design and own the overall architecture from a customer standpoint, because you are one of the representatives of the company sitting almost very close to where the rubber meets the road, or wherever the action is happening, which is on the client side. So from there you'll be giving inputs to your experience, whichever you have done, is going to hold you in a good amount of position, and give you a very strong mature standpoint to be able to take decisions, because you know what is good, what is not good, what works, what will not even work. So instead of having multiple meetings, when you have such experience, you'll be able to tell them, okay, this works, this doesn't work, and then you will be able to take those kind of decisions on behalf of the stakeholders. And that's a very good way to grow as you know head of development, head of engineering, or head of customer experience. Like you want to be a product owner of that entire product suite. So the implementation experience that way is very vital than if you want to grow, like but not many people like that job. But it's a very good growth trajectory, because you get to know how it works with different guys, at the bank side. So in a development side, you're just focusing, okay, it works on my machine and that's about it. But when you sit there, you get to see how it really works in the customer side, and you get multiple different challenging problems. So you get very rich in experience, and companies value that a lot, and they pay you also quite heavily once you have that experience. And your growth to higher roles can be a lot faster at times, if you choose that path.
Okay. Yeah, I see that. Yeah, that is the advantage in this profile, and yeah, and that interaction with the, as it says, interaction with the leadership, like working with the senior stakeholder, and I'm making them understand what is the value coming out from this technology, and how what are the trade-off decisions. Let's say going with the current landscape, this is the run and maintain cost. These are the current pain points. Going with the technology, new solution or transformation, this is the benefit it brings, plus the cost of operating. So yeah, I see that it's more about, let's say, working closely with the consulting opportunity, as well as uh, working on the different initiatives. So it's like overlap. At the same time, I wanted to understand, let's say, looking at the current, and I'm, let's say, very 15 plus years experience. So looking at that and the current pace at which the technology landscape keeps on changing, let's say every 2 years, or let's say these days. So how would you see, like, if going with, let's say, as a hypothetical scenario, if I go with this opportunity, so how I can keep myself up to date, let's say, with the technology trend, let's say, and say that yes, I'm close to technology, and that is the way that I can understand, yeah, this is how, let's say, uh, new technology like Kubernetes or cloud, microservice, DevSecOps, how they work. How can I keep myself up to date? Like, that will be a challenge, right? Or do you see that in this role also I can get that opportunity, like, to deepen my skills in that
No, but
uh,
what? Yeah,
bit?
yeah, that's a good point. So in this role, you'll not get much of hands-on role, but you will be in a position to call the shots in terms of which technology is feasible, which is not feasible. From a business point of view, from a leadership point of view, you don't have to do every time. You can get some POCs done by your team remotely, or you yourself can do it over there. But it's not a very hands-on role that way. But if you want to, like, given your experience, you have 15 years, maybe another 5 to 7 years, if you really want to be in a hands-on role, then you can overlook this opportunity, because it will not provide you that. But this is from a growth point of view. Let us say if you want to become a VP or a director in another 3 years, those 2 years down the line, then this role is a good fit for that. You want to be a head of business, you want to be head of something, you want to jump in the career a lot more faster, then this is a very good ideal role, because you get very good visibility with the customer, very good visibility with the top leadership and all that. At that time, you should not be like, oh, I should understand how does this